All right, Shalawam Yasharahla, giving all praise and glory to the Most High power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. His words will be praised for everything. Hallelujah, and glory to His holy name. I dealt with pride and envy and jealousy and humility in the scriptures, and gave examples of our 12 tribes of Israel. Then these scriptures, our ancestors, of how it fit into their lives and how the Most High felt about it. So you hate a man that's prideful. Pride is hateful before man and the Most High. So these are the things that hopefully you've been, studying and looking at what it is that was presented to you, so that you can prepare yourself for the kingdom that's already prepared for us as the children of Israel. It's just a matter of, what we're going to do. Are we going to continue to fall into the guidelines of this world that's set up to send you straight to hell? Or are you going to take advantage of the highest calling that you can be called into and learning how to please the Most High? What's pleasing to Him? How do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? It's not enough talk about the Most High. It's all about Israel. It's all about what have you done for me lately? Or go over there and tell Him to bring me this money, or do this for me, or do that for me. I need it for this, I need it for that. Always something need. But when it comes down to reading this Bible, and it's something pertaining that's going to benefit Him, or that's He wants us to do, or even with the Mashiach Yahushua being glorified by the Most High, or the Most High being glorified. That's why I say hallelujah to the Most High, the highest praise you can have to Him. As always, I'm going to start off with Colossians 3:17. And whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all by Hashem Mashiach Yahushua. Give thanks to the Most High and the Father by Hashem Mashiach Yahushua. So all that we say and do is going to be in the name of the Lord and Savior, Mashiach Yahushua, the ultimate sacrifice for the 12 tribes of Israel. He said in Matthew 15:24, but He answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And that's who we are. That's who we are. We the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Those that these scriptures fit. You see? Because everybody's not the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That's another topic, but you know who you are. Scattered among all these nations. And He's going to lift us out of all these nations, from among all these nations. So let's look at, go to the book of Job. Because, Job was a man that spoke of, and I don't think a lot of people realize what happened with Job and why it happened. Look at Job, the first chapter. And let's read verse 1. There was a man in the land of Uz. We're dealing with self-exaltation, self-righteousness, self-elevation, self-examination. So let's, Job 1:1. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job. And that man was perfect. You hear that? And that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared the Most High and eschewed evil. Okay? So you hear that. So, let's go to the 6th verse. Now there was a day when the sons of the Most High came to present themselves before the Most High. We the Israelites that was believing in and going to Yahweh about Shem Mashiach Yahushua. And Satan came also among them. Whenever you come together, Satan's always going to pop up. That's why rebuke the devil, he shall flee. But you got to be in these scriptures. You got to be in the laws of the Most High. That's what my H.O.I rebuked him with the law. For all you to say that we ain't under the law, you just telling people you can't rebuke the devil. You can say rebuke all you want to. If you ain't following the laws, you with him. Either you with the Most High and my H.O.I, or you with him, the devil. Either doing what the Most High say do, his rules and regulations, or you with the devil. The devil gonna have you not do what he says. Say, come as you are. It don't matter. The Most High, he hate the sin, but he love the sinner. That's ignorant as ever. That's total darkness. That's total darkness. He gonna burn you up. He gonna get you for that. And all those that teach that and believe that, he gonna get you for that. You're gonna be the least in the kingdom of heaven. Listen. Now there was a day, verse 6, Job the first chapter, when the sons of the Most High came to present themselves before the Most High, and Satan came also among them. Now Job is in the beginning of time. He's not chronically right here. He's in the beginning. It says, and the Most High said unto Satan, whence cometh thou? Where you coming from, Satan? Now the Most High talking to Satan. Then Satan answered the Most High and said, from going to and fro in the earth. Going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. Where's Satan at? In the earth. He might be in some of y'all out there. But listen, the Most High asked him a question. So y'all taught that Satan fell out of heaven and rebelled against the Most High, and he fell out of heaven with his angels, and they walking around on the earth. Listen, understand this, please. Let's look at this. Because it says, and the Most High said unto Satan, verse 8, hast thou considered my servant Job? He asked Satan, have you considered my servant Job? Satan didn't ask for Job. The Most High said, have you considered my servant Job? So there's got to be a reason why. That's why you got to have critical thinking, because it's got to be a reason why the Most High said, have you considered my servant Job? That there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth the Most High and escheweth evil. Isn't that the same thing we read in verse 1? Listen. Then Shaitan answered the Most High and said, does Job fear the Most High for naught? Do Job fear the Most High for nothing? Has not thou made an hedge about him? You protecting him. What Satan said, you protecting him. And about his house, and about all that he hath on every side, thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. This is what he asked him. Since he operating on his own, he said, but put forth thine hand now. That's very important. What hand? His left hand. Because the Mashiach is on the right hand, who the world falsely called Jesus Christ. He's on the right hand. Always been on the right hand of the Most High. But Satan said, put forth thine hand. Most High, he don't just have one hand, he got two hands. So he said, put forth thine hand. What hand? It's that left hand. He said, put forth thine hand now and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. Right? That's the arrangement that Satan have in his mind, that if he put forth his hand and touch all that he have, take everything, because Job was a rich man. He had many valuable riches in all ways, shapes, and forms. So, listen, but Satan told the Most High, he asked him, I won't say he told him, he asked him to put forth his hand, that left hand. You understand? And he said, Job cursed him to his face. And the Most High said unto Satan, behold, all that he hath is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Most High. Right? So it has to be a reason. Have to be a reason why the Most High, he said all he said concerning Job, and yet he allowed Satan to get him. He invited Satan to get him. Let me say that. So look at Job 32. Go to Job, the 32nd chapter. we have to examine this, because a lot of times, you know, people think that they can't be touched because they so righteous, or they're celibate, or they have this spirit of exaltation because of the way they living. Did you hear what the Most High said concerning Job? Perfect. Because God say you can't be perfect. Job was perfect in the eyes of the Most High. But there's something wrong. Something wrong. So he did something wrong. Let's find out. Job, the 32nd chapter, and the first verse. So these three men ceased to answer Job because he was righteous. How? In his own eyes. Hear that? What does that mean? If you're righteous in your own eyes, that means what? One thing, you're prideful. You conceited, as we would know today. You think you are that. And you are thinking that you are following the Most High to the letter. Everything he say, you are admitting from your mouth. That's what he did, from his mouth, that he was righteous. And I went through scriptures. If you haven't went over this, I've showed you what's marvelous in the eyes of the Most High. Let's look at it, because a lot of you might have missed it, just in case. And I've showed you through different prophets, Ezra, Daniel, and many of our ancestors that we read about in this Bible, were a certain way, and they prayed a certain way, and they acted a certain way before the Most High, as we have to. These are examples. So let's look at 2nd Ezra 8:48. I can't go over this enough. It says, "In this also thou art marvelous before the Most High." In this, thou means you are marvelous before the Most High. Now, I want you to make it mean something different, because a lot of y'all gainsayers out there, you know, you don't want nobody to bring your pride down. You don't want nobody to deal with you because you are prideful. So this is to you. "In this also thou art marvelous before the Most High," and to those that will listen and hear and change themselves, make a change in life so they can follow this. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck with the judgment of the Most High. It's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power. Hebrews 10:31 tells us that. But it's very important that you see this and see what's marvelous in the eyes of the Most High. Right? This is very important, brothers and sisters. So, and this is those that, you know, first timers, or those that really need to hear this while the Spirit is bringing it out. Go see what did it say. Job 32:1. "So these three men ceased to answer Job because he was righteous in his own eyes." Okay. Bear with me, because we're going to bring it out. We're going to bring it out. So it says, "In this also thou art marvelous before the Most High." in that thou hast humbled thyself. That's the first thing. That's why I went over a lot of scriptures pertaining to humility. Pertaining to humility. Very, very important. Because if you don't be humble, you can't please the Most High. That's the first thing he says. And this is marvelous before the Most High, who we serve. In that thou hast humbled thyself, as it becometh thee. And hast not judged thyself worthy to be much glorified among the righteous. Are you getting this? It's very important. You have to see this, because this is why Job was dealt with by Shaitan, the Most High's left hand. And it's showing you clearly what's marvelous in the eyes of the Most High. What's important to him. He said, in that thou hast humbled thyself. Humbled thyself. That's contrary and all the way opposite of being prideful. As it becometh thee, and has not judged thyself worthy to be judged, to be much glorified among the righteous. What did Job do? Job 32:1. So these three men ceased to answer Job, because he was righteous in his own eyes. You hear what the Bible says? You hear what the Most High is saying? Through the Spirit? It says, in that thou hast humbled thyself. It's talking about Ezra. As it becometh thee, and hast not judged thyself worthy to be much glorified among the righteous. Job didn't do this. Job thought he was righteous in his own eyes. See, that's wrong, because and it's beautiful that the Most High have the ability to be able to look at ourselves and not, try to think that we all that. Now, how you think you all that? You teach it, we in the curses. We done broke the Most High's law, so we in the curses, but now we all that. That's why the Most High hate a prideful man. He hate a poor man that's proud too. Look. You cannot exalt yourself. No matter what position you're in, or no matter how you look at yourself. You can't do this. It's wrong in the eyes of the Most High. You want to be marvelous in the eyes of the Most High. Verse 50. 2 Ezra 8:50. For many great miseries, and we in the last days, shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world. Great miseries. Why? Because they have walked in great pride. Hear that? They walked in great pride. So when you see pride, then it's not anything righteous in it. Because listen to what he said. He said, but understand thou for thyself. Say, understand this, Ezra, for yourself. And seek out the glory for such as be like thee. That's a deep statement. And it hit home. When I really looked at it, it's like, wow. He said, seek out those that has humility. Those that are living a broken and contrite spirit, that have love, who the Most High love for their people. That will show mercy and grace. That's the Most High giving us mercy and grace. And not thinking that they all righteous. You better than somebody. That's why I say let others esteem you. Don't esteem yourself. Look on the things of others. And don't esteem yourself. Uplift each other rather than bringing everybody down. That's marvelous in the eyes of the Most High. Remember, Romans 9:13 says, as it is written, Jacob have I loved. So the Most High loved the 12 tribes of Israel. So who are you not to love the 12 tribes of Israel? A lot of you try and make a judgment of who's the 2/3, who's the 1/3. You don't know nothing, as you ought to know. You don't know if the Most High going to bring them out of whatever they're in tomorrow or this day. We don't know. Well, we got to first and foremost love our people. But you see, Job thought of himself as being righteous, which is off. That's why the Most High sent Satan on him. You know, and another thing, for all you that think that the Most High can't touch you, listen, what do you think about this? Talk about this, since you think you know him. Isaiah 53:10. Isaiah 53:10. Yet it pleased the Most High to bruise him, bruise his only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahushua, who the world falsely calls Jesus Christ. He had put him to grief. He put him to grief. When thou shalt make his soul, his body, an offering for sin, for the 12 tribes of Israel's sin. He shall see his seed, he shall prolong his days, and the pleasure of the Most High shall prosper in his hand. This is what we're looking at pertaining to our power, Most High. It pleased him to bruise for Mashiach Yahushua, his only begotten Son. It pleased him to do that. So, who out there think they're more important than his only begotten Son? Hopefully you won't say you are. Before the Most High, everything we saying and do is before the Most High. So hopefully nobody will say that, but there are some out there that might. You know, they don't really know, or they do know and they just don't care. But believe me, you don't want to fight with the Most High. Not in these days and times. You know, because he have to have a problem, because who's giving him credit for the things that he's doing on this earth? Nobody. Hardly. You know, we as Hebrew Israelites are, but the media says he just sent a hurricane. They call it Hurricane Laura, a female name. That's the Most High. So you can be visited of the Most High. Isaiah 29:6. You just see what he did to Job? You didn't even know what he did to Job. He took all his riches, killed his children. Then he came back the second time. Satan came back the second time, and he said you can touch his body, but you can't kill him. Put boils from the top of his head all the way to the bottom of his feet. We just read what he said. Just in case you missed it, it said, Isaiah 53:10. Yet it pleased the Most High, power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Jacob being the forefather of the 12 tribes of Israel, to bruise him. To bruise him. His only begotten Son, y'all. This is what we talking about. The Most High. Yet it pleased the Most High to bruise him. To bruise him. His only begotten Son. Y'all better recognize and understand and overstand. He had put him to grief. And I did lessons on the death of a Mashiach Yahushua. No joke. So look at Proverbs 12:15. Proverbs 12:15. Because he had to come for his mission. Like a lot of us have missions, and we can't detour from our mission. Proverbs 12:15. The way of a fool is right in his own eyes. You hear that? So what's he calling Job? You make the call. The way of a fool is right in his own eyes. Remember, Job was what? Righteous in his own eyes. The way of a fool is righteous in his own eyes. But he that hearkeneth unto counsel is wise. You that's going to hearken unto this counsel will be wise. Because the counsel is coming from the word. Period. All you got to do is take notes. Right now, it seems all you got to do is just look at the video over and over again. Take notes. I mean, there's no excuse. When he come back, there's going to be no excuse for anyone. Because this is about what your priorities are. Some of you like social media. Some of you like yourself. Or you like something else more than what it takes to be able to see yourself in what's going to go down in the kingdom.
Somebody tell Caffeine busy really live that narco life. I only took this battle to get my cargo right.
Proverbs 12 and 15. The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but he that hearkeneth unto counsel is wise. So a fool gonna think and believe that he's righteous in his own eyes. He call you a fool. That's deep. That's real deep. Look at Luke the 18th chapter. Luke the 18th chapter and Luke 18 and 9. I tell you, and he spake this parable unto certain which trusted in themselves. This is my H.O.I. He spoke this parable unto certain which trusted in themselves, that they were righteous and despise others. Because that happens, you know, when you look at a lot of people that's righteous, or they have found some way in their life to feel that they're righteous or they better than someone. And they despise others because they think that they're better than the next person. So we have to go through these examples of our people. There's nothing new under the sun. The same mindset as you see here is the same mindset of our people. Even don't let them get no money. Oh boy, if they have some money, they really look down on someone. You have them the Bible, they can't show you nothing hardly. They can run their mouth, but you have the Bible, they can't hardly show you anything. But they got their money. And you'll see. Let's look at this story. It's a story, a parable by my H.O.I. It's a riddle, but you can understand it. It's not gonna be hard. And he spake this parable unto certain which trusted in themselves. Here they trusted in themselves. They trusted the Most High. They trusted in themselves. Keep this in mind. Because a lot of you out there might trust in yourself. And you might not even realize it. You see, that's why we got to go over these scriptures to get understanding. And he spake this parable unto certain which trusted in themselves, that they were righteous and despised others. So this is to all you that he's speaking to, that think you so righteous and you despise others. You think you better than someone. Two men went up into the temple to pray. The one a Pharisee and the other a publican. Pharisees were like religious political leaders like we have in our nation at this time, like Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, so forth. Both of them ran for president, you know. So Pharisees were like that. They were operating with the Romans, government and so forth. That's why they were afraid of, if they get rid of Mashiach, they're going to lose their power with the Romans, and the people going to start following the Mashiach, and they're going to lose their power with the people. That's why they had to hurry up and put him to death. Listen, the Pharisee stood and prayed thus with himself. The Pharisee stood and prayed thus with himself. God, I thank thee that I am not as other men are, extortioners. First thing he said, I ain't like everybody else. He despising everybody else, putting everybody else down, extortioners, unjust, adulterers, or even as this publican. He gonna point to the man that's praying in the temple. Even as this publican. I fast twice in the week. I give tithes of all that I possess. And the publican, standing afar off, would not lift up so much as his eyes unto heaven. So he's in a very humble state. He won't even lift his eyes up to the sky. But smote upon his breast, saying, Most High, be merciful to me, a sinner. Hear that? Be merciful to me, a sinner. He admits he's a sinner. Be merciful unto me. Don't give me what I deserve. That's mercy. I'm a sinner. He admitted, he confessed that he was a sinner. He broke the Most High's laws, right? I tell you, this man went down to his house justified rather than the other. Prime example. He's telling you, hey, I'm a sinner. Have mercy on me, because I'm a sinner. Not as the Pharisee, thinking he all that and putting down everybody, or think he's better than everybody. Oh, I done seen it in Israel too. I tell you, this man went down to his house justified rather than the other. For everyone that exalted himself shall be abased. Everybody that think you all that, you're going to be brought down. Whether now or later, but you're going to be brought down. Some of you think you way up here because of, you think money is gained, or you think you whatever it is that you're dealing with in numbers is gained. No. That's why you got to humble yourself. That's why I went through a lot of lessons on humble. I got a whole, I could go on and on just humility. But I stopped because the Spirit said you got to go into self-examination. You got to go into self-exaltation. You got to go into self-righteousness. You got to go into self-elevation and so forth. All this pertains to helping us to not be as such, to come back to the Most High. That we can be redeemed from this wicked lands that He scattered us in. Yasharahla. Hear the word of the Most High. He said, I tell you, this man went down to his house justified rather than the other. For everyone that exalted himself shall be abased. You'll be brought down. You think you all that? You're going to be brought down. And he that humbled himself shall be exalted. That's pretty simple to me. And it don't take a rocket science to figure that one out. Is it? Proverbs 14 and 12. Proverbs 14 and 12. Proverbs 14 and 12. There is a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. Hear that? There's a way that seems right to a man, but in the end, the Most High gonna send a death angel to kill you. That's what he's saying. Because you pray to yourself, as the Pharisee was, say he prayed to himself. And it seems right to a man, but in the end thereof are the ways of death. Proverbs 16 and 2. All the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes. See that? All the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes. He don't do a self-examination to tear himself apart. To know what's marvelous in the eyes of the Most High. But the Most High weigheth the spirits. See that? So, all the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes. Not in every man, because we have examples of men, as I've showed you. You go over these lessons that I've given you and showing you examples of Ezra and Daniel. I'm going to give you an example of Daniel and Ezra with one or two scriptures, not going into it, because like I said, if you've been going over this, then you should already see this. You should already know this. But I'm going to show you what's marvelous in the eyes of the Most High. Whether you see, you hear, or forbear. Listen. Here's Daniel praying to the Most High. Daniel's the 9th chapter. In verse 3, and I set my face unto the most high power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to seek my prayer and supplication. That's crying to the Most High. With fasting and sackcloth and ashes. That's humility. He fasted, not eating anything, sackcloth like burlap, some real downgraded material, and ashes. Ashes that come from when you burn something, put ashes all over it. That's what we did. And I prayed unto the Most High my power, and made my confession, and said, O Most High, the great and dreadful power, keeping the covenant and mercy to them that love him, and to them that keep his commandments. We, including himself, have sinned. See that? And have committed iniquity, including himself. We, this marvels in the eyes of the Most High. We have sinned and committed iniquity, and have done wickedly, and have rebelled, even by departing from thy precepts and from thy judgments. You see that? Neither have we, including himself, hearkened unto thy servants the prophets, which spake in the name to our kings, our princes, and our fathers, and to all the people of the land. See? Verse 8, O Most High, to us belong a confusion of face, to our kings, to our princes, and to our fathers, because we, including himself, have sinned against thee. That's showing himself that he's not over righteous, right? Now let's look at Ezra. Since Ezra 7, I'm going to read a few of what he said. Ezra 7 and 49. Second Ezra 7 and 49. Second Ezra 7 and 49. For what profit is it unto us, talking about the 12 tribes of Israel, if there be promised us an immortal time, that's going to live forever and ever and ever, eternal life, whereas we, including himself, have done the works that bring death. See? We, including himself. This is marvelous in the eyes of the most. That's why we read 2 Ezra 8:48. This is what he said before. This is a chapter before. 2 Ezra, the 8th chapter. And that there is, verse 50, and that there is promised us an everlasting hope, whereas ourselves, including Ezra, being most wicked, are made vain. Including himself, being most wicked. That's how he felt. And that there are laid up for us dwellings of health and safety, whereas we, including himself, have sinned. Should be, whereas we have lived wickedly. Come on. That's marvelous in the eyes of the Most High. That's why Job was dealt with. Because he thought he was righteous in his own eyes. So let's look at Proverbs 20 and 6. Let's continue to look at this. Proverbs 20 and 6. Most men will proclaim every one in his own goodness, but a faithful man who can find? See? Most men gonna claim everyone his own goodness. I'm righteous. You know what's good is the Most High's law. Romans 7 and 12. I'm righteous. No. He said, but who can find a faithful man? A man that's really dealing with the faith, believing in the Most High, and what it is that he say how we're supposed to be, to change to be that way. Become a new creature. Be born again. You know, be acceptable before the Most High. With humility and a broken, contrite spirit. Proverbs 21 and 2. Every way of man is right. Every way of man is right. How? In his own eyes. Hear that? Every way of man is right in his own eyes. Everywhere is right to a man in his own eyes, the way he sees things. But the Most High pondereth the hearts. The Most High look upon the heart of a man. The heart is the mind, the way you think. That's why, go to Jeremiah 17 and 9. The heart, which is the mind, the way you think, is deceitful above all things, and desperately wicked. Who can know it? He said, I, the Most High, searches the heart. I tried the reins, even to give every man according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doings. The Most High know the heart. He know how you think. He know what's right. Proverbs 25. Proverbs 25 and 27. It is not good to eat much honey. So for men to search their own glory is not glory. So he just says it's not good to eat much honey, overindulging in honey. But he say for a man or men to search their own glory is not glory. Looking to be somebody. Especially we Israelites, we're taught we're in hell. We're in the curses. So why you gonna be somebody in hell? Why are you looking to be somebody in hell? Look. It's not glory. You see, you're looking for glory in this kingdom. It's not glory. Look. Let's see how Mashiach said y'all say y'all following him. Or he's a prime example of how we should follow. Let's see about how did he operate. And hopefully somebody will hear this. Philippians 2 and 5. Let this mind be in you. Let this mind be in all of us, which was also in Mashiach Yahushai, right? What was the thought? Verse 7. Made himself of no reputation. Hear that? But made himself of no reputation, and took upon him the form of a servant, and was made in the likeness of men. He was a servant, made in the likeness of men. And we just read about how the Most High, it pleased the Most High to bruise him for our sins, wretched us, wicked us, our sins. But he's made himself no reputation. So you better think about it. And you trying to be somebody thinking you all that. Better humble yourself before you be visited of the Most High. Proverbs 26 and 12. Proverbs 26 and 12. Seest thou a man wise in his own conceit? You see a man wise in his own mind? There is more hope of a fool than of him. You hear that? There's more hope of a fool than of him. You see if a man wise in his own conceit? Thinking he all that? Thinking that he's the Most High's gift to this world in his wisdom? Believe this. And a lot of people be drawn to that. But I must tell you, as you've been hearing, if you've been actually going over these lessons of humility and envy and jealousy and all that, he says, seest thou a man wise in his own conceit? Thinking he all that? Thinking he's wise and know this and know that and know that. A lot of you know precepts. We all know precepts. We know something. We know in part and prophesy in part. That's what we know. We know in part and we prophesy in part. That's it. Seest thou a man wise?